What's up guys, Jace 2 Cents here. We are in Columbus, Ohio at the headquarters store, if you will, for Micro Center. I finally made it to a true grand opening on the day. It's a re-grand opening, but still. So this is actually different than other stores we've seen. They have two new areas that don't exist in any other store, which I'm gonna kind of focus on today. But this is exciting. I mean, they're lined, wrapped around the building, and we got some aerial shots here. There was like 1,500 people waiting to get into the store before it opened. People lined up the day before. Crazy giveaways. I built a PC on stream. Well, I'm gonna build a PC on stream. Help Jordan build a PC on his stream. A bunch of giveaways. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's do a quick tour around the store real quick. And then what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna have a talk here with a gentleman by the name of Tom, who's been working with the company since 1986. And I've got some fun questions to ask him about what is it about Micro Center that has just survived the test of time. Like, what is Micro Center doing right, where other electronic stores and tech stores have just fallen by the wayside or shut down or become irrelevant, where Micro Center is now being just begged to come to various cities to just open more stores. The most common thing I hear when it comes to Micro Center is, please open one in my store or my state, open one in my country. So it'll be really interesting to see what that discussion turns out like. So let's take a quick tour and show you some new sections here that Micro Center is now dabbling in, including robotics. So there's some really familiar aspects to Micro Center. Like if we look over here, you'll see these are all like the pre-built systems. You got your laptops, obviously TVs, you got your system integrator systems, 3D printing in the back for like makerspace, even Apple products. So obviously they have a whole bunch of Apple products here, iPhones, iPads, iMacs, you name it. But look right here. We'll come back to this section right here. I'm a little conflicted on this one. I don't know what to think, and I'm really curious as to what your guys' take's gonna be. This is an AI development center. Not only is it just robotics, which you can see right here, we got some robot arms doing things like she's making this robot move by giving hand gestures and stuff. Again, it's AI driven, but apparently over here, somewhere in the AI area, you can build your own LLM. Now we know that Micro Center is like the exclusive retail location that actually carries the NVIDIA DGX Spark. And they also sell the AMD module, I forget what it's called. But they're actually now incorporating more hands-on robotics and AI in the store, which is quite unique. And I kind of want to ask a little bit about that too, I think, when we talk about well, maybe these are the reasons why Micro Center has survived the test of time. They're not afraid of new technology. They're willing to get hands-on and showcase it with their customers. So a lot deeper discussion there than we can have in today's video. But let's go and come over here to the robotics section and see what we can find. Okay, so this is the Speed Studio Rebot arm, which is actually running off the NVIDIA Jetson AGX Thor developer kit. Now we were talking with some folks here, this is way too overkill for what this arm can do. But this is a gesture-controlled robot arm. So you can see on the screen right there, if you hold your hand in the circle, that kind of triggers it to start to be able to control it. And now I can control the robot arm with my hand, right? So if I go left and right, I can move it left and right. If I rotate my hand, watch, if I twist my hand, I'm actually twisting the head. If you look at my fingers, if I close my fingers, I close the jaws, open my fingers, it opens the jaws. Now it is tracking individual fingers, but it looks like, yeah, no matter what, it looks like it's based off pointer finger. So if you close pointer finger, that does that. So it's kind of neat. I mean, a little hands-on with some robot stuff here, but it's like the questions beg to be asked. What is the use case for this? Like, what would you do with this? And right now it's a really neat showcase of just technology, I guess, but you know, this could obviously be in a more consumer aspect. Maybe it can more intelligently like hold a camera for somebody. Like if you just, sorry Phil, maybe you'll be out of a job someday because you have a robot arm that can do it. I don't know. I wouldn't see myself replacing my human camera operator with an arm, but it's just an example of something you could do with it. You could program this to do various tasks or whatnot. So it's just an example of robotics, of something that you probably wouldn't have seen other than some sort of like factory make itself to a consumer level. So that's kind of a neat thing to see. Now over here we have a similar thing where you can actually make music by waving your hand in front of the camera. If you haven't noticed, there's a bit of an NVIDIA theme here because this is actually all hosted by NVIDIA, like this area is sponsored by NVIDIA because it's using, as I'm making noise, it's using their technology. So this is the NVIDIA Jetson Orin Nano Super Developer Kit, these names. But wave your hand in front of the camera to create music. So if you look at the camera right here, don't know how well you'll be able to hear it. The right side is a higher pitch. the left side's a lower pitch. What happens if I wiggle my fingers? Can I do two hands? Yes, you can. So I don't know how I would utilize this personally, but I'm sure someone would be able to make a really cool song with this. But it's just another example of how there's an integration between AI and other physical world. So that's like the gap right now, I guess, in a lot of AI is going to be like bridging software with physical AI, which is where the robot arm and like this is kind of coming in. Now they've also got a really interesting thing here that they're showcasing where you can build your own I'm going to move so that stops making sound. You can build your own LLM by using what looks like building blocks. And we're going to have them show that to us. Really curious as to a reason someone would do this. That's a real question for me. I don't know how I would utilize it, so I'm going to ask them, what is an example somebody would build their own LLM, and what would the use case for that be? And what are its limitations? Because obviously, I think what we think when we know about LLMs that sound massive and huge and running on giant data centers, but these are more like personal agents. So it'll be interesting to see what they have to show us. Okay, so I'm over here with Hayden in the AI development area here. So this is like a build your own LLM.
So it's build your own agent.
Your own agent. So, okay, what's an example of a use case somebody might use this for?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people are familiar with LLMs and text in, text out. But then use cases really come into play when you connect these models up to tools. So one could be an LLM connected up to internet so that instead of doing Google searches, you're just talking to your agent and it's able to look up live information. So that would be like a very simple use case.
Okay, so it's more conversational rather than just being a query.
Yeah. More complicated use cases depend on the kind of tools we have. So like this is actually a tool for Google Workspace. So like it can have access to Calendar, it can have access to Gmail, it can send emails. So like if we gave it this tool as well, we could do a web search and like send an email as well.
Well, now what do you mean by give it this tool? So what are you doing with the blocks?
Yeah, so the blocks are basically a teaching tool because we kept going to conferences and people were like, this AI agent stuff is overwhelming. So we were like, okay, how can we simplify this and make it fun? So the first thing that powers an agent is a brain. So in this case, our brain is running locally. It's the Nemotron 3.5 Lightning open source model. It's running on this Spark right here.
Okay.
Once you have a brain that you can talk to, you want to give it some tools. So in this case, we basically have these blocks, which are actually just MCP servers. Like the blocks are just for fun, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just so that I can hand you a tray and say, hey, which blocks do you want?
Got it. And it's using the camera to identify which blocks you put down.
Yeah, so we're actually hitting another vision language model to do this kind of processing, but it's just to like make it, interactive.
Is there, without the camera, is there a GUI you could just drag and drop?
Yes, we actually have a GUI only mode too. So then on the fly, we basically spin up all the containers for these MCP servers, and we build an agent on the fly using LangChain Deep Agents. It's an open source agent harness building framework.
Okay.
And then we can basically use the tools with our agent. So, easy chit chat would be like, hi, and this is sending the request locally to the Nemotron Lightning model today. If we said, when is the Columbus? It should use a web search for this, right? Because the model doesn't know.
Now, after it's searched for this information, will the model store it in memory and now know from now on?
That's a great question. So there are actually harnesses that support building memory and on the fly. LangChain Deep Agents supports that if you build it build it yourself.
Okay, so what are some of these other blocks then representing?
Yeah.
So I assume this would be like a weather, this is maybe stocks or finance?
Yeah,
okay.
Finance. This one is like charting things. This one's like a Postgres database. We use this for enterprise AI demos, so it's maybe the tools are not the most appropriate for like consumer.
Yeah, because I'm trying really hard from a consumer perspective to imagine how I would use this, but that's not really what this is aimed for. This is aimed for more like smaller development firms and such that are wanting to utilize these tools, but
I think it depends. So like I personally have a Spark running where I have a Hermes agent set up, and I hate adding things to my calendar manually, to my Google Calendar. And it's much faster for me when someone like shoots me a message, then I just tell Hermes like, and they're like, hey, like, can we hang out at this time at this place? I shoot Hermes a message and I'm like, hey, like, someone just texted me, it has access to my texts, it has access to my Google Calendar, put this information for hanging out with this person like in my calendar. And then it creates the event with like the location, the time, will invite people if necessary. So like, that's I guess my, I don't want to say like hobbyist, but like consumer use case.
Okay, I mean, fair, tough question maybe. I feel like smartphones and stuff can already do that. Like for instance, if someone sends me and says, hey, are we still on for dinner for Friday? I'll say, yes, it automatically goes on my calendar, dinner Friday, and it knows who I was having the text with. So my iPhone is already doing all that. So, I mean, what are some more powerful uses of an agent like this a consumer might want outside of, say, calendar management?
Yeah, so I actually built something. I like to meditate a lot, and I'm really into fitness. And I built something that like connects up to like my meditation sessions and my fitness to like tell me when I'm like more worn out from my workouts, and then like reminds me to meditate and like looks across all the data to like see if it could find any correlations with helping with recovery with doing like meditation.
Okay.
Like if I got to bed. If I got to sleep faster or anything like that. So you're correct that like your phone can do that. The other thing is like maybe your phone doesn't do it in the way that you want to. Maybe you want to customize it a little bit. Now you have that option.
And again, this is all running locally on the DJX except for anything you query the web for.
Yeah, so everything is running locally. Obviously, like it depends on the tool. Like if you're querying the web, yeah, it's going to use the tool to go to the web. But otherwise, it's all local.
Okay. Well, it's interesting to see what the shrunk down version of these agents are starting to look like, since now it's becoming more, I don't know, I would say approachable, but I think there's still a lot of stigma and fear around AI as well. So it's be interesting to see how this kind of moves forward in the public perspective of it.
Yeah.
So, well, hey, thanks for sharing that with us. I mean, I saw the blocks here, and I'm like, okay, what on earth are we showing here? But now that you said that this is just for fun, because my thought was now literally you're gonna get some NVIDIA building blocks here that you start throwing
this
them
is
together.
For fun. It's a teaching tool. Like we even actually have an ESP32 inside of this, so like it turns the some light strips under here green when the model is like an NVIDIA model. It'll turn it like purple for the Quen model.
So right now, if I throw the weather block on there, what's going to happen?
So we have to like reconfigure it because since we actually write all the code on the fly, but like it should pick it up.
So if you reconfigure, does it save everything you already had? Or you have to leave the blocks out here? Or
it's just demo purposes, so no, it gets built on the fly. What we actually did is when we showed this at a conference, we hooked it up to a compute platform, and you could click a button to basically export your code. It would push it to GitHub, and then you could deploy whatever you built on that compute platform. I don't know why it's not.
See, I see it sees Google, it sees Tavily, it's just not seeing the weather one.
There we go. Yeah. Now it's spinning up everything, writing the code on the fly.
And then obviously the more things we add in here, the more heavy the model's going to be, or the agent will be to run.
Yeah, so right now, like they say that like Frontier is like 3 months ahead of non-Frontier models. But if we were to put down like all of these tools and ask a really complicated question, like, yeah, this model, like GPT 5.6 Sol is gonna be better than like a little tiny model on this Spark. So one thing that I've been talking about with people here is like a lot of people are like, hey, I really want the Frontier models because they're incredible sometimes, but I don't want to pay every time. So a lot of people are building routing systems in front of that. So like a simple query goes to a local model or a less expensive model, and a more complicated query goes to a Frontier model.
Makes sense. So. Awesome. Well, Hayden, thank you so much for sharing with me.
Thank you.
It's interesting to see where we're going with all this. One thing that Micro Center is heavily pushing is Ubiquiti. And it's one of those things like, man, I feel like there's a lot of love and hate regarding Ubiquiti because they really are kind of like the Apple of networking, if you will. And I really just resisted trying Ubiquiti stuff. I had Ruckus in my house, I think 183 clients on my network, and I was just getting constant dropout. Like the handoff between APs was not great. It was causing TVs to just lose signal because the handoff was happening so frequently with the APs stepping over each other, even though they were on the same mesh. Was just gross. And my contacts at Micro Center were like, have you tried Ubiquiti? It's actually really good. And the pricing of the Ubiquiti stuff has come down from where it was. I upgraded to Ubiquiti at home and I have not had a single client drop off yet. And I'm not even using the physical gateway. I wanted to make sure before I invested into the physical gateway cost that I was going to like it. So I'm using their cloud gateway, which is really weird. I don't think I should have to subscribe to a gateway, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel that and get the physical gateway and just migrate it over to the physical really easily. But now I'm a bit more interested now because they're getting into security. And I'm not going to say what security company I have at home, but I have security now, and some of it integrates with my home, like with the locks and stuff like that. Some of it does not. But it would be nice to have a more centralized connection. And all of this stuff can be hardwired in, not just like wireless-based IP6, I think it's called IP6. So this is kind of neat, but it has some cool functionality where it can, it has license plate reader and stuff, so it'll know when you come home. And apparently you walk up to your door and it has like a Ring camera type of camera that can recognize your face and automatically unlock your door when you walk up to the door kind of a thing. And I know right now people are like, oh, that's so scary, especially with the whole like flock camera stuff going on, but there's a difference between you controlling this versus cameras popping up in your front yard that aren't yours. So I think it'd be a nice, neat integrated system to include there in my home. The thing is, like, I have to then change, I have to go to a PPOE or a PoE or power over Ethernet because that stuff's all powered over Ethernet. So it's kind of a fun thing. I think it's been a fun project for me to get my home, and I fully rewired my closet, so it's all like perfectly pretty now, where before it looked like a rat's nest just falling out of the wall. So if you're looking into Ubiquiti or any sort of networking stuff, obviously Micro Center has a huge section for that, and then knowledgeable experts on hand to help you with your setup if you're a first timer or you need help putting the components together. Okay, so I promised you guys a little bit of an interview here with someone. This is Tom Welsh. She's been with the company about to hit 40 years,
40
right?
years, yeah, next month.
And you're retiring soon.
I am.
Are you looking forward to that?
I am.
I look forward to the day myself someday.
I mean, I'm going to miss the store. I won't lie about that.
Something tells me you're going to pop in often, though.
I'm sure I will.
So you're currently GM of the Columbus store.
Yes.
But you've been with the company since 1986, right? Okay, I don't want to date you, but I was 5.
Yeah, okay, that's okay.
What has the journey been like for you? Like, where'd you start, and how did you work your way all the way up to management?
So I started selling IBM and IBM compatible MS-DOS computers back in 1986. And at that point in time, a lot of what we were selling were computers to do word processing, spreadsheet, and database work. And most of those customers that were buying, it was their first computer. And the sales process then was to be able to show how they could do their work more efficiently,
right?
It was and justify
digital
the expense.
movement. Yeah. In the early 1980s, my dad was he retired from the military. He was a CB in the Navy when he retired, so project management, and he was a part of the really early development of computerized project management. Yeah. Mainframe computers and all that. So you started out basically as an associate.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like that's a recurring story you hear with so many upper management at Micro Center. I mean, Rick was an associate.
Rick was an associate.
He's the CEO.
We've tried to start.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Obviously, in the last 40 years, there have been a lot of dynamic shifts in both advancement of tech, cost of tech. The last 10 years alone, we've seen more turbulence in the industry than we've ever seen. But yet, Micro Center continues to remodel stores, which is not cheap, something you probably don't even have to do, but you're doing it anyway, and opening new stores and new markets at an accelerated rate faster than you ever have before. I think in the last 5 years alone, I've been a part of at least 10 grand openings and reopenings. So what do you think Micro Center is doing different, whereas other tech stores have failed and are gone? I mean, Micro Center is the last true tech store in the US as far as I'm concerned.
We were like the first, and we're the last. I remember when CompUSA first came into this market. And so CompUSA, then Computer City, Best Buy, Circuit City, Incredible Universe.
My first tech job was Circuit City in 1999.
So they all came into this market. And I remember, and CompUSA was just growing leaps and bounds. They were adding lots of stores. Yeah. And I remember the person that was in charge of the stores at the time, and we only had a handful of stores, but he told me, we're in a marathon, we're not in a sprint. And really the reason that we're in a marathon is because trying to replicate the culture and provide the knowledge that we pride ourselves in continuing markets if we grow too fast. Is a difficult thing. You need a lot of manpower to do it, and we stay relatively lean, especially at the corporate office level. In the stores, the differentiation between us and everybody else, and really all retailers in general, have been that the first thing they've cut when things got tight was their manpower, and our manpower has been what our differentiator has been. And so we've got the product, we have it available, we have a lot of it on display, and we still have the help in the store that can provide customers with somebody that they can ask.
I asked earlier, I think it was actually Chalin I asked, I said, do you think Micro Center will ever adopt a true e-store as an e-tailer? And it was such a quick, hard no, because the people are what make Micro Center, the associates, and you don't get that online. But also, too, I feel like, just to add, as somebody that was a customer of Micro Center long before ever working with the brand, that there hasn't been this sense of we'll charge as much as we possibly can for a product. I mean, obviously, when things have been tough, and other companies will just inflate and almost scalp at a retailer level, Micro Center's never done that. In fact, you continue the bundles at a price no one can match, period, or even come close to. So obviously there's huge relationships that Micro Center's built that it seems like is just being funneled right down to the consumer.
Yeah, over the years, we've built a very strong relationship with manufacturers and vendors. And really, again, power spec has been a big part of that, because we're able to buy large quantities of hard drives and RAM and things to build those computers with. And so we buy them as OEM, and we're able to offer a lot of that at the retail location. And we try to stay very aggressive on price. We try to beat the market.
And that's where MOQs really come in handy, because you guys have a lot of buying power. So especially with what this is, you have 28 current stores right now, right?
30, and now. Austin will be 31.
Oh my gosh, see, that's how fast they're moving along. I remember when I think it was Miami, they were like, make sure you say 26 with 27th on the way, and it's like that many stores have already opened since last year. You know, it's crazy. Yeah, looking forward to Austin. I think that'll be a fun market. It will be. Because you're already in Dallas, but Austin is
We're in Dallas and Houston. Those are two right now of our higher volume stores. Obviously, our Tustin, California, which you've been to a number of times.
That's my local store.
That is the highest volume store. I mean, that's just crazy what's happened there since they did the remodel. And then Dallas and Houston are really right on their heels.
I was just saying to someone earlier, Tustin is the only store that I know of. Well, it's probably happening others, but we see it all the time because we get there before opening for when we do a lot of our shoots. And every day, it doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday or a Saturday, there's a line. There's a line to get in before opening because it's just that popular. So, well, I guess, hey, congratulations on a 40-year career with Micro Center. Look forward to retirement. I'll live through you for now, and then I can't wait for till it's my turn. But it's exciting to see the locals, the home store. It started here. Not exactly here, but it's back here and moved here. What year did Micro Center return to Columbus?
Well, we've always been in Columbus.
But you moved, right?
So we were founded about 5 minutes south of here on Lane Avenue. So we moved from Lane Avenue to here in 95, and we've been here since 95. We had remodeled this store back 15 years ago, where we tried to kind of take what was our current store format then and kind of make it half that and half what we were. Nothing to what we've done here now. This level, where we ripped up all the carpet, knocked walls out, repainted everything a different color, put new lights in, put new fixturing in, put new cash wraps in. Everything is different.
I love the new looks. Like I remember the first time I saw it was Denver. And I thought, wow, because Tustin, it was half the size before you knocked out the walls and got rid of the storage, basically. But it was old fluorescent lighting and beige walls and browns, and it felt like 1987.
That was the history. That's what we
But you modernized it.
Yes.
And now it's almost 27, and it feels like it. So
it's open and it's bright. It's easier to shop. We can actually get more stuff out onto the shelves.
I love that the texts are just right out in the open.
Texts are right there, so you can see them work, and I think that adds that's a nice dimension to this.
people think that you check a system in for repair and it goes behind some swinging doors, and then you think it's just sitting there and no one's touching it. But these guys are hard at work. So, well, there you go, guys. Thanks for checking out our coverage here of the reopening of the Columbus store right down the street from the corporate headquarters from Micro Center. And as you guys know, Austin's coming later this year, TBD, but we'll be there. So you guys will be there too, as you'll be following our coverage. But thanks for watching.
Thank
Once
you.
again, Tom, thanks for the interview.
Thank you.
And it was so nice to meet you.
Yes, you too.
Thanks for watching.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you in the next one.